Hello, everybody. On this episode, which will be Genesis chapter 7, we're going to go for a little boat ride or a cruise ship cruise, however you want to put it. I don't think it's going to be much of a pleasure cruise, though. From the way it reads, when God commanded the animals to go into the ark, he would have had to put them in some kind of hibernation. And as our illustrious scientists have learned, that it can be done. We just don't know exactly how to do it, but they're studying ways to put even us into hibernation for space travel. See, all kinds of science comes out of space travel, and if we'd behave ourselves and wouldn't quit trying to stab each other in the back, mankind could have been amongst the stars right now. We could have had pretty close to Star Trek. But no, we'd rather have people up there greedy, backstabbing, and everything else. Leave God out of it. God gave us a simple rule book. I mean, think about it. This was written for people that herded sheep. And we are so advanced today, we can't even follow a simple rule book. All right, well, here we go. Let's go for a little pleasure cruise. We're going to start out this time with the NIV version of the Bible. So let's see here. Ready, set.
Genesis 7.
There we go.
The Lord then said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. 7 days from now I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made." And Noah did all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came on the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds and of all creatures that moved along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark, as God had commanded Noah. And after the 7 days the flood waters came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the 2nd month, on that day all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were open, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that very day Noah and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. They had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kinds, every creature that moves along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, everything with wings. Pairs of all creatures that have the breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. For 40 days the flood kept coming on the earth, and as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 15 cubits. Every living thing that moved on land perished: birds, livestock, wild animals, all the creatures that swarm over the earth, and all mankind. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out: people and animals and the creatures that move along the ground, and the birds were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days.
Now that is what you call a little rainstorm. I was reading another book. Yes, I do read other books. And thinking it was named Lucifer's Hammer. And, aptly named. It was a comet. But this comet broke up, struck him several chunks. Think about it. God tells Noah, hey, get ready. And let's say a comet hit somewhere on the south of the equator on the other side of the earth, maybe right around South America. And it's an ocean strike. This is an ocean strike. Well, all that water gets thrown up in the air. There's your flood. Of course, the waves and earth and all like that. So, even science is just now beginning to figure out that this was possible. It took our little bitty, insignificant brain thousands of years to figure out that this was even possible. Right? So that was the NIV version. I'm going to change it up a little bit this time, and I'm going to do the revised name version next. Let me get over here to it. Yep, make sure I get the right one this time. Okay, chapter 7. Ready, set.
Bereshit chapter 7. And Yahweh said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Of all the clean beasts, take with you 7 pairs, a male and his female, and of the beasts that are unclean, 2, a male and his female, and of birds of the heavens, 7 pairs, male and female, to keep offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I am sending rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and shall wipe from the face of the earth all that stand, that I created. And Noach did according to all that Yahweh commanded him. Now Noach was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. And Noach and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood, of the clean beasts and of the beasts that are unclean, and of birds and of all that creep on the earth. 2 by 2 they went into the ark to Noach, male and female, as Elohim had commanded Noach. And it came to be after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noach's life, in the 2nd new moon, the 17th day of the new moon, on that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of the heavens were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that same day Noach and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noach, and Noach's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them, went into the ark, they and every life form after its kind, and every beast after its kind, and every creeping creature that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark to Noach, 2 by 2 of all flesh, in which is the breath of life. And those going in, male and female of all flesh, went in as Elohim had commanded him, and Yahweh shut him in. And the flood was on the earth 40 days, and the waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. And the waters were mighty and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters were exceedingly mighty on the earth, and all the high mountains under all the heavens were covered. The waters became mighty, 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died, the creeping creature on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts, and every swarming creature that swarms on the earth, and all mankind. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the spirit of life, all that was on the dry land, died. So he wiped off all that stand, which were on the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature and bird of the heavens, and they were wiped off from the earth. And only Noach was left, and those with him in the ark. And the waters were mighty on the earth 150 days.
Well,
Bereshit chapter 7.
pause. Okay, well, one thing I'm noticing here, no matter which version you listen to, they're all saying pretty close to the same thing. So the NIV translation later in the Bible, we haven't reached the one yet, but there's places where they have taken out complete verses. Now this is the 1980 80 something version I've got here, and the one that's being read is the newer one, the 2011. So they've changed even more words, supposedly. But what I don't agree with is them changing the things to please the women. Sorry, gals, the Bible wasn't written to please anyone. And as long as your husband is following this book, you should too. Okay, so now we're at the King James Version. I gotta get some more of these. Hopefully the donations will pick up a little bit and get more stuff, allow me to do more work. But right now, I only get one. Anyway, let's go on to. There it is. There we are. There we are. Here is the King James Version. This is Old King James.
Genesis chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And every living substance that I have made will I destroy off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him into the ark, because of the waters of the flood. Of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth, there went in two and two unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah, and Shem, and Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth. And the waters prevailed, and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl, and of cattle, and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land, died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days.
Now, all of y'all that like to, oh, God is total love. He wouldn't do anything like that. He just, he wouldn't destroy, he wouldn't kill a sinner. He wouldn't do that to people. You make them mad. I this is the reason he sent his son. He didn't want to do it again. He sent Jesus down here to live with us, to get a first-hand report, to live in the flesh, to find out what was going on with these people. Because he sent prophets, and he kept sending people down here, to try to teach us. Just be good, behave, and we couldn't do it. So he sent his own son down here. And his son probably, came back with the reports, and Satan is down here instigating trouble. So his troublesome angel, Lucifer, is down here. So maybe that's it. I'm hoping, when Jesus comes back, and Lucifer will be bound up, that will cease a lot of our problems. It will maybe take the greed out of our hearts. Always got to want something else. Always. It's in, like I said, it's in our hearts. It is, why when I was married, I had more women come on to me. When I had that ring on my finger, yeah, it's wanting what somebody else has. Women are just as guilty as men. So men don't think you have the market cornered on greed. This is a intergender thing, and then we got other stuff going on. But as we can see from both Bibles, of course, the restored name version is harder to understand. I wouldn't recommend anybody getting the Hallelujah scriptures until they're comfortable with the King James version first. The King James version is the one I get the most feeling that was, God's wanting us to use for so many years. Our country was basically blessed on this version right here. This basically it. And the NIV, the original NIV was made with good intent. Intent was good. They went back to the original text. They did not interpret the King James version. The original one of these was they went back to the original text and the old tablets and the New Testament. They went to the Greek text to get the translations. So it was good until then in the 2000s. They decided, even the new King James version, they decided we're going to make it politically correct to appease the Western woman. And I'm probably going to make most of y'all mad, but the westernized women, y'all got it all wrong. Y'all ain't going to like it, but you need to, of course, there's going to be chapters that the women had good husbands. If they had a good husband, the woman had nothing to complain about because the husband was good too. So it's not a one-way street. Anyway, let's get on. I'm not going to get on a marriage rant. I'll see you back here for chapter 8, and we'll compare all three versions again in chapter 8. Stop.